Hello everyone, in the last video, I introduced 6 new models recently released by Black Forest Lab, the creator of the Flux models. Among them was a Fill model, which works for both Inpainting and Outpainting. And the results are honestly pretty impressive. But there's a catch. It takes up more than 20 gigabytes of VRAM, which can be a real strain on your computer's performance. Luckily, the very next day, a skilled developer came to the rescue by releasing quantized versions of these models. For example, the Q4 version reduces the size to just 6.8 gigabytes, way more manageable. In this video, I'll compare these quantized versions of the Fill models with the official Black Forest Labs Fill model. I ran all the tests using a specific workflow, so by the end, you'll know which model works best for your needs and GPU capabilities. I also created an Outpainting workflow using the Q5 Fill model, which is 8 gigabytes, paired with a fine-tuned Flux-based checkpoint. And believe it or not, this setup even outperformed the official 20 gigabytes Fill model in many scenarios. Let's jump straight into the results. I was curious to see how this workflow would transform this image of a woman. The task is simple. Use the workflow for outpainting. First, we define the fill area. Here is the black region. After running the workflow, the result is this. Pretty cool, right? Let's check out 2 more examples. In these cases, the workflow had to fill in large, complex areas like generating entire faces or bodies. Definitely no easy task, but as you can see, the workflow handled it beautifully. You can also use this workflow with a GGUF version of the Flux Realistic Checkpoint. It's another solid option, delivering great results while only using 6.8 gigabytes of VRAM. I've already introduced Flux Realistic in a previous video, so check that out if you want more details. Here's what we are covering in today's video. First, I'll compare the official model with the quantized versions. Then, I'll break down the outpainting workflow I built. If you've seen my older video where I introduced an outpainting workflow using another Flux model, consider this an upgrade. I've added the link to that video in the description below for anyone curious. Alright, let's dive in. This workflow is designed to compare the final images generated by different models. I won't go into the details of how the images were generated. Let's jump right into the comparison results. Here's the setup. I processed this image by cropping out a specific region. The black area you see is the part I filled using different versions of the Fill model. Most nodes in the workflow are there to compare these results. For example, this node compares the filled original image with the version generated by the Q4 Fill model during outpainting. You can tell which model was used by checking the captions below the images. For example, Q4 means the image was generated using the Q4 version of the model. If you see numbers following Q4, don't worry. They just refer to specific cropped regions and can be ignored. I also tested Inpainting using the same image. This time, I cropped the white area and filled it with different Fill model versions. Because the filled area is inside the image, this is actually Inpainting. Here's a comparison between Q4 and Q8. To make the differences clear, I cropped the same image into different region sizes, so you can see how each model performs as the fill area changes. I compared both outpainting and inpainting results. For example, with the 3 node groups on the left side, you'll see comparisons for outpainting, while on the right, you'll see comparisons for inpainting. Actually, I analyzed lots of images, but you don't need to look at every single one. I'll summarize the key conclusions for you. The first conclusion: there's a noticeable improvement from Q4 to Q5, but the difference between Q5 and Q8 is much smaller. For instance, in the Q4 version, details like the motorcycle's headlight had several issues, but these were significantly improved in Q5. Hands generated by Q5 were also far better. When comparing Q5 to Q8, the quality of the motorcycle and hands was pretty much the same. Let's look at another example of inpainting. Q4 and Q5 generate very different face angles and features. However, the difference between Q5 and Q8 for inpainting was minimal. So here's the first takeaway. If your GPU can handle Q5, go with that. Don't settle for Q4 just to save some VRAM. It's not worth it. The second conclusion. When it comes to outpainting, Q4 is noticeably weaker compared to the official version. However, for inpainting, the difference between Q4 and the official version is much smaller. Let me show you what I mean. Take this outpainting example. The boost generated by the Q4 version had clear issues, while the official version handled them perfectly. On the other hand, for inpainting, both models struggled a bit with the faces, but the problems were more pronounced with Q4. That said, when working with smaller inpainting regions, the differences become much less noticeable. Let's look at an example with larger inpainting areas. The images generated by Q4 and the official version were quite similar, with the biggest difference being in facial angles. The official version was slightly better with details, but not by much. For instance, the guitar strings produced by both versions were practically identical. Here's the takeaway. If you are using a fill model for inpainting, Q4 is a great choice. Even with larger areas to fill, the official model isn't perfect. It will still lose some details and often needs a second pass for refinement. So in most cases, you might as well stick with Q4. This brings us to the third conclusion. Both outpainting and inpainting can result in some loss of detail. Let me show you an example. When we compare the original image to the one generated by Q4, you can clearly see that the face looks broken or degraded. However, if the fill area is smaller, the loss of detail is much less noticeable. Take this comparison between Q4 and the original image. See how the changes to the face are barely noticeable? Now let's look at inpainting. Even here, detail loss happens. For example, in this comparison between Q4 and the original image, take a closer look at the guitar's headstock and the fingernails. Notice the subtle loss of detail? Interestingly, even with the official 20GB model, this issue persists. Look at this comparison between the inpainted results from the 20GB model and the original image. The details still shift slightly, don't they? So here's the takeaway. If you're filling a large area, even the official 20GB model can result in some loss of detail, and you may need to run a second pass or post-process the image to recover those finer elements. Fourth conclusion, the overall composition of images generated by all versions of the fill model is largely the same, as long as you are using the same seed. In this workflow, I made sure all node groups used the same seed, so the only variable was the version of the fill model. Because the composition remains consistent, the specific version of the fill model doesn't make much difference in terms of structure. However, when the fill area is large, even the official 20GB model can generate problematic or unrealistic details. Some of these details can look so fake that they require a second pass to fix. For example, take this case of the woman and the motorcycle. The grass in the background looks very artificial, almost like plastic. This highlights a key limitation. Directly using the official 20GB fill model and workflow isn't always the best approach. A better option is to use a quantized fill model like Q4 or Q5, combined with a fine-tuned checkpoint for repainting. This approach gives you a much better balance between quality and efficiency. Now let me walk you through the upgraded outpainting workflow I built, which improves on the previous version. Let's go over the general flow of this workflow. First, we define the area to be filled using the image blend node, which you can see here as the gray area. Then, we perform the first fill using the Q5 version of the fill model. This step establishes the general composition, which looks good overall, but there are still some details that need fixing. Next, we move to the second pass repainting by modifying the outpainting mask. This is done using the preview bridge node, which allows us to adjust the mask intuitively. Once the modifications are complete, we invert the updated mask to create the input for the second pass. For the second pass repainting, we use the fine-tuned Flux model. Two options are available here. FP version of Pixel Wave and the GGUF version of Flux Realistic. Pixel Wave's file size is a bit larger, requiring around 11 GB, while Flux Realistic is lighter at just 6.8 GB. If your GPU has enough VRAM, it's better to go with Pixel Wave for improved results. In that case, you can delete the UNet loader node to save VRAM, as loading both models simultaneously can be memory heavy. Here's the image after being repainted with Pixel Wave. You can see that the artistic quality has improved, and some of the details have been fixed. However, after the first fill and the second round of repainting, some original details are still lost. For example, if we zoom in, we can see that the fingers and watch details have disappeared. To address this, the nodes on the right side are used to restore these original details. Let's take a closer look. Notice how the fingers and the watch details are successfully recovered. That said, there are still a few minor issues with the face. The node group on the right is also designed to fix specific details, like facial features or hands. In this case, the hands didn't need fixing, so I focused on restoring the face. Once this step is done, the final process is to perform tiled upscaling, which enhances the image's resolution and sharpness. Now let's rerun the workflow and I'll walk you through how to use it step by step. First, activate the first node group and deactivate the others. After uploading your image, use the Image Blend node to define the Outpainting area. You can adjust the sliders to control the horizontal and vertical positioning, as well as the size of the fill area. Once everything is set up, run the workflow. This will generate the image to be filled along with the Outpainting mask. Don't forget to fill in your desired prompt at this stage. Then, activate the second node group. The second group handles the first fill pass. You can leave the parameters at their default settings and simply run the workflow. Great, the first fill pass is complete. Next, activate the third node group. Now let's run the workflow again. The Preview Bridge node will display the image generated from the first fill pass. The gray area you see represents the approximate region of the original image. Using this preview, you can make intuitive changes to the Outpainting mask. Open the mask editor and paint over the areas you want to preserve. For example, I think the convertible was generated pretty well, so let's paint over it to protect it. Let's also paint over the upper body area of the woman, as well as part of the door that look fine. Once you are done, save the mask and run the workflow. Great, now we can see that the painted areas and the area of the original image have been merged into a white mask. Since this mask will be inverted, the white area will remain untouched, while the black area will be repainted during the second pass. Next, activate the next node group to repaint the black area in this second pass. Since my VRAM is sufficient, I didn't use the GGUF model here. The rest of the node group is similar to the Outpainting setup from earlier, but there are two key differences to keep in mind. First, the guidance value in the Flux Guidance node group is lower for the second pass repainting. For example, in this node group, the guidance value is set to 2.5, whereas in the earlier Outpainting pass with the Q5 model, it was much higher, like 30. Second, the noise mask option in the Inpaint model conditioning node must be set differently depending on the pass. For the Outpainting node group with the Q5 model, the noise mask option is set to false, but for the second pass repainting node group, it should be set to true. These settings are critical, so make sure you don't mix them up. The other parameter to adjust is the denoise value in the case sampler. I've set it to 0.5 for this pass, as I don't need to make significant changes here. You can tweak it based on your specific needs. Alright, let's go ahead and run the workflow. The nodes on the right are used to restore the original details. The preview image node shows the original details. Now let's activate the next node group to refine the facial details. In the Ultralistic Detector Provider node, I select the face YOLO model, which detects the face area for restoration. If you want to fix hands instead, you can choose a model with hand in the name, like this hand YOLO model. Most of the parameters in the face detailer node can be left as default. The main setting to adjust is the denoising strength. If the area needs significant fixing, increase the value a bit. Once everything is set, let's run the workflow. The final step is to activate the upscaling node group. For this, I use the face-up depth model, which is particularly good at preserving facial details. To enhance the overall sharpness and clarity, I also include the detail demon sampler. You can tweak the detail amount parameter to control how much enhancement is applied. Other parameters can remain at their default settings. For the basic scheduler, make sure it's set to exponential and adjust the scaling factor as needed while keeping the other settings unchanged. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.